space for inspiration, growth over everything has evolved into something far greater, a movement for education, empowerment, and elevation for women. Here, gratitude isn't just a concept, it's a way of life. Strength isn't just spoken about, it's cultivated. Success isn't just imagined, it's achieved. This is where balance, self care, and transformation take center stage, where you don't just dream about growth, you step boldly into it. No limits, no hesitation, just elevation. Join the movement today. Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It is your girl, Coach K. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I get started, please make sure you have subscribed to the Upgraded Mindsets Media channel here on YouTube. And if you are listening on your favorite streaming podcast platform, then make sure that you have favorited the Woman's Hustle so you are notified of every new episode because we are rolling, baby. I am loving the conversations. I am loving the amazing women that are blessing the podcast, but I'm also loving you guys' feedback because you appreciate all of the insight, the ups and downs, the thrills and spills. And that's what it's about for me. So thank you so much for being here. If you see my face, then you see that I'm not here by myself. So I'm going to allow my guest the honor of introducing herself. Hello.
Hello, hello. How are you doing,
I'm good.
Keisha?
How are you?
I am wonderful and I am so thrilled to be here with you.
I'm
I
glad to have you.
always enjoy everything you do. I have always
Oh,
said we speak the same language, and when two people are in alignment with each other
yes.
and their frequency is the same and they're in the same flow, nothing like it.
Hey, I love it. I love it. And you are so right. I get chills just talking about it right now. So, but please let the listeners know who you are and what you do.
Hey, well, my name is Jeannie Muhammad, and I'm an author, a podcaster, or a live streamer. People tell me there's a difference, and
People so
and
typical. Go ahead.
a blogger. I'm a coach, a life and happiness coach, and mine. Assertive and confidence coach, holistic wellness, self care. Um,
Yes.
and so I'm just busy. I'm a wife, a mother, grandmother, great grandmother.
I love it. I
Yes.
love it. And I love the great grandmother part because people will hear you say that, and they probably like, great grandmother. Yes, she's a great grandmother, y'all, and looks amazing, might I add.
Well,
Okay.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's that self care. I
It
you
is
know.
definitely that self care. And we are
Mhm.
going to talk more about that. We are going to talk about all things resilience, mindset, making the shifts, and that it's never too late for you to rewrite your story. I really am excited to get into this conversation with her because we've had conversations like this in the past, but I also feel like she's a walking testimony to it too. So if you don't mind, just kind of sharing a little bit about what got you where you are today.
Okay, I like to start with my first memory. And my first clear memory is when I was 3 years old. And I was born in a little two-room shack in a little town called McDade, Louisiana. It's not
Mm.
really a town, it's a sign on the side of the road, Highway 71 in Louisiana going towards New Orleans. Most people know, New Orleans. So it was
Right.
Highway 71 leads to New Orleans. And it was literally in the middle of a cotton field. It had no running water, no electricity, none of the amenities that we're used to. And it had dirt floors. And there
Mm.
were five of us there. Two sisters and my mother and father. And I was 3 years old, and I remember waking up to my mother screaming. My father was beating her,
Mm.
and that is the first clear memory that I have. And this went on throughout my childhood, living in this traumatic environment because my father, I mean, he would beat her on a
Yeah.
regular. But and I'm gonna kind of shorten the story some, but I plotted and planned on how I was gonna get out of the situation. And I left home when I was 16 and went to California and lived with an aunt and uncle. But because I was taking all of this baggage with me,
Yeah.
I ended up going in and out of abusive relationships. I ended up being an alcoholic, a drug addict. I was homeless numerous
Mm.
times, and then but along the way I also was living a double life, as far as I was pretending to be normal during the day at this job that I had, and being a drugging and drinking at night. I was living this double life.
Yeah.
And I got tired of living that life, Keisha. I got tired of pretending to be one thing and living another. And you cry, you cry, you cry.
Yeah.
And I cried and cried, and God answered my prayer through I got this tape of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Mm.
And when I heard his voice, it was like, oh, okay, I need to hear more about him. And so in my learning more about him, he wrote this study guide called Community Development, the basis for self improvement, the
Mm.
basis for community development. And that's how I started looking at myself and started.
Mm.
And the first lecture in this book is there are 21 lessons that he gives, and the
Okay.
first one is called building the
Mm.
wheel, which is all about your mindset.
Yes. Yes.
Building the wheel. And I started from that, Keisha, and I started looking at me. Now, the people that I was involved with and all of that, they were raunchy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were raunchy. But then I had to say, well, why am I allowing these people into my life?
Hey, come on. Come on now.
So now
Mm.
I have to look at me and really examine me. And I think
Yeah.
that once we start really looking at self,
Yeah. It starts with self.
it starts with self.
It
It
starts with self.
Everything starts with self. If you don't have self-love, you really uh, loving
Yeah.
someone else is not. If you don't start with self-respect, then if you don't start setting your boundaries,
Woo. That's a whole. Come on. Come on, boundaries. Listen, y'all know I say all the time that if you are wanting to begin any journey, you've got to get you in order first.
that's right.
And I say it because I went through that and I still go through that, because one thing about me now, my journey is ongoing. But I also love that my other guests share about their journeys, because that is a powerful transformation in the making. She ain't even told y'all what she really do as an entrepreneur, as a coach, is nothing. She ain't even told y'all that. But it's so powerful. You just feel the shift and you feel the transformation. But I love how we are rolling back that it starts with self.
Yes,
For all of you who have businesses, all of you who are interested in business, having a business, starting, launching, please make sure that you are together first. I'm not saying that you got to be 100% intact, but I am saying you have to have policies in place for you, because
that's
this
right.
journey is no joke.
That's right. And you should know, why are you starting this business?
That the why is first, not the money, y'all. The why.
Why?
The why is first. Why do you want to have a business? Why do you want to do it? And also, I wanted to touch on it too, because we talk about the why, but I feel like sometimes too, as we get older as women, we feel like sometimes that we're limited in things and how we can do things. Oh, well, we're too old to start a business. I'm too old to do that. I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to share your age, but you are the prime example of it is never too late to elevate.
Never too late. That is my prime motto. And the reason that I set myself out there as an example, because I have so many clients that
Yeah.
will think that age is a limitation,
Yeah.
that being too this or too that, or not enough of this or not enough of that. But I always say you take what you have and you work with what you have.
Yes.
And you don't want to share my age, maybe, but I love to share my age, Keisha,
I'll
because
leave
it's,
it to you to do.
no, I am 77 years old.
Come on.
I'm
Come
seven,
on.
yes. And I actually did not realize what I really truly wanted to do until I was 65. I was
That's a
65.
testimony, baby. That's a testimony. I'm just, ooh,
Yes, ma'am. I was
I love it.
65. And then, and what really started it off was I got remarried at 65. And a lot of people think that that's kind of old to be
Yeah.
old.
Yep.
You mean you're
Nope.
starting a marriage at 65? Um,
I
and so,
am. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Those societal stigmas is why so many of us just stay stuck. And then we wonder and we wish and we hope and we cry and we get depressed and all of those things come into play simply because and I'm speaking in general because I know there are other circumstances, but a lot of y'all don't have all of the things that you really think you have. If you have not been diagnosed with any of those things, a lot of y'all are holding yourselves back because you are falling in the line with societal stigmas telling you that you're too old to do it.
Ooh, that is so true. See, to me, age, I don't accept that at 77 I should be doing certain things. I
Yep.
mean, I feel that I am doing what I can envision. I have a mindset, Keisha, of there are no limits.
Ooh,
There are
and it's
no
not.
limits. And I know there are a lot of things that this world or this society has going are saying because you're a woman or because
Yeah.
you're a black woman, because you are. But see, I don't even buy into all of that. I really
I,
don't.
no,
I mean,
I
and
get
I
it.
know this world is trying to do that. I
Yeah.
know this world is trying to make us think that because we are this or we are that, that we cannot accomplish what we will. But I don't believe that.
Oh.
It's in God's hands. See, only
Mm.
God can set my limitations. Only because I just don't believe.
Yeah. No, it's just,
So,
and but also going back to what you said too, as far as your past, there was a light bulb moment for you. There was a transformational moment. And majority of us have to have those in order for us to really say it's time to realign, recondition, and re-elevate, elevate ourselves on a whole new level.
right,
Right. There's
right.
so many things that come into play. And a lot of those things are things that are designed to keep us down.
Right,
A
they
lot of the
are.
statistics show that, oh, you did this, me as a teen mom, me as someone who, had trauma during my childhood and things like that, that I'm already labeled because of those things.
Yeah,
And
that's
even
right.
now, I know that there are people who look at me like, I remember when she used to do this back in the day. What? I'm not going to listen to her. That is a societal stigma because why do you feel like people can't change?
That is it. And
Yep.
and and the thing that I see so many times is see, we listen to those limiting beliefs. We
Yep.
listen and we believe them.
Yep.
And when you were talking about a transformation, see, there does come a moment in your life, in my life, where I had to say, wait a minute, I need to put a stop. And I had to isolate myself. I had
Yep.
to get away from a lot of the people that I called friends. I had to
Woo.
drop a lot of, I had to isolate myself. And when I
Yep.
isolated myself, I started a process. And it's an it never stops. I can never say I have arrived. I
Yeah.
can say I'm farther along than I was
I
10
love
years
that.
ago, but I haven't arrived yet. And
I
and
love that.
and as long as I'm living, I'm in that process
Yeah. I
of
love that.
becoming.
Yeah. Oh, becoming. Come on, becoming. Mm, mm, mm. I think that, first of all, those words were super powerful. And the word becoming just speaks volumes for me because I feel like I'm in that same space. Um, but I also want to touch on the fact of when we are becoming, we don't know what that journey is going to give us. And I share this story often. Before I began my transformational journey, I had no desire or thoughts to be an entrepreneur. None. It never crossed my mind, right? But the
Yes.
power of that journey that I began and the power of the shift that were coming along with that, it shifted me into entrepreneurship. And at that time, it still wasn't full time, but towards once I got going, it became full time. And was I scared? Absolutely. Was I worried? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, once those emotions went to the side, I had to put faith in my transformation in the process. And I
Yes.
think because it's never too late, because people are like, I was in my mid 40s doing that, so therefore they're like, oh, you too old to be doing that. I think we feel like that entrepreneurship should start when we're in our 20s and stuff, and that's because social media has depicted that. We see the influencers. Personally, there's a difference between an influencer, a content creator, and an entrepreneur, but that's a whole nother episode, you know but I stepped into entrepreneurship as a coach, and I have evolved into a full time coach, a full time consultant, a full time author, a full time podcaster, a full time, just all around serial entrepreneur who is out here still with the mission of wanting to uplift, inspire, teach, and elevate other women, others, period. And I know that me and you share very similar stories with regards to the transformations that we want to help people seek,
That's right.
but also what I think what we really have and I want to talk about this a little more too, is the power of the resilience that goes behind the journey in entrepreneurship. Mindset matters, because if you have a negative mindset, if you have a fixed mindset being, oh, I can't, I'm only going to make it this much, I only want to make a couple dollars. No, you should be saying you want to make $10 million a day. Mindset, manifesting that, but if you have that mindset of, oh, I want to start a business, but ain't nobody gonna buy from me or shop from me, that's the negative mindset. We need to shift that. You have to shift that. You have a vision, it's up to you to take action on that vision. Will it prosper? It may not, but the reality of you being open-minded to say, I want to have a conversation about it, that is powerful in itself.
Yes. And the thing about um, really resilience, that's why the things that we go through in life, the traumas and the different, what we consider maybe bad things that happen to
Mhm.
us, when those things happen and we do not allow those things to be our defining moments, we rise above the
Yes.
events that occur in our lives,
Yes.
and we keep going, we keep growing.
Yep.
And when we do that enough times, when we get knocked down, we don't stay laying there as
There you
long
go.
after each event.
Yes.
We become resilient, and
Yes.
we come to understand that a failure does not mean that that is the end of you.
Come on.
That, you start you're in business, and it may not be manifesting as fast as you would like it to be,
Right.
and you consider that a failure, but it's only a failure if you have not learned from the experience and you go
Yep.
back and repeat that same mistake again. But as long as you're learning and growing, it's never too late to keep getting up and doing what
Absolutely.
your business.
Yep.
Like I said, I and it's never too late.
No,
Don't ever
it's
think.
never.
I went through so many different businesses. When I was younger, I tried this.
Yeah.
I tried network marketing. I tried. I've just tried a whole lot of
Right.
different things.
Right.
But when I realized that all the things that I have experienced in my life really was leading me, was my purpose and my business all tied up in one.
Ooh, come on, purpose. Because it's
They-
facts. It's facts. Purpose is priority.
yes,
Purpose is, I walk in that every single day. And even on the days where I'm worried, even on the days where I might be a little fearful, even on the days where I know that I'm launching something or I'm meeting with a new client for the first time, you know, I always revert back to that one word: purpose. This
That's
is your
right.
purpose. And it always makes it easier. And even going back to that mental resilience, because the having that resilience doesn't mean that you just aren't worried and scared and fearful, because those are emotions that we are supposed to embrace. It's normal to do that. But you have to be able to confront those difficulties head on, regardless if you're scared. You have to still find the solutions, regardless if you're scared, because this is your purpose. Your purpose is not going to be easy, as you
Mhm.
walk it, but you have to keep moving forward instead of letting that frustration or even that self-doubt, because we know as women, self-doubt can shut down a whole operation.
Yeah, and you know what, you saying that, I have a confession to make. It's very, very hard for me to do interviews because it has to do with that fear factor when you're talking about,
Yeah,
being fearful. And people say, you
I know. Oh my goodness. Well,
but
look, it sounds like you sharing a spiel with us, and we appreciate that. So this is definitely a safe space.
yes, because and I'm sharing it because even though I have reached this point in my life where I have achieved tremendous success in a lot
Yeah,
of areas, that there is still that fear that I have to overcome every time I'm going to do an interview.
yeah. I
But
love that, and I appreciate you sharing that.
yes, and I'm just saying that we, even though we may have fear, and that's
Hmm.
our greatest hindrance most of the time is fear, even when we are not aware that's what's stopping us from doing
Yeah.
what we should do. It's most of the time it's fear.
Yep. It
And
is.
and so I have learned to, in spite of the fear, in spite of it, I do what I do because this is my purpose,
Yeah.
is to
I love
share.
it. Yeah.
This is and out of my purpose and out of my pain has come my uh being a business owner, entrepreneur. It's all come out of that. And
Hmm.
because of that, because I know that fear, I work hard to make sure that that I am doing the right thing so that my business will thrive, so that I will be able to help more people.
Yep. Because
But
at the end of the day, that's what it is.
I overcome that fear.
I
And so
love
I
it.
just wanted to share that because some
I appreciate
people
that.
they don't think I have fear.
Hey, that and people think that about me too, because I guess how I speak, and I know I have a very bold personality, and I speak very boldly and sometimes loud. I embrace that. I've had a loud mouth all my life, y'all. So it is what it is. But also, I can relate to that because there was a point in time where you wouldn't even see me on social media. Before I started this entrepreneur journey, I was a lurker. I didn't want to be in the spotlight. I didn't want that. But again, when I'm stepping into purpose and that transformation, I got to trust the process. And it has landed me here, as an award winning coach, as a 2-time podcast host, and just a woman who is ready to continue to empower and uplift other women and give them the tools to be able to embrace that about themselves and whatever that looks like for them.
That's right.
And I think that when we talk about entrepreneurship as women, we have to make sure that we take the emotion out of it when we're running our business. The passion can be there, but when we making decisions, the emotion shouldn't be making those decisions for you. And sometimes that fear will allow your emotions to take precedence and say, oh, yeah, we're just going to do it this way, when logically it's not the right move.
And that's
So,
why
yeah,
okay, and that's why I said, Keisha, knowing yourself and
yeah,
recognizing what it is that you're thinking.
yeah,
I tell people all the time, look at your thoughts. Really look at what you're thinking.
What you're thinking.
Really look at it, because when you realize how powerful our thoughts are, look at what you're
Yep.
thinking. You're manifesting your own failure, and
Woo!
because
Y'all ain't ready for that, is y'all? Y'all should be.
what and it has to do with what we're thinking. So
Yeah.
I know now, at one time I didn't recognize it. I know
Yeah.
that fear. I'd be like,
Hmm.
oh, look at that, trying to stop me from doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
That's when I say, get thee behind me, Satan.
Behind. Thank you kindly.
Because I have work
Listen.
to do. I have
Yeah.
work to do. And so that's when I start taking my own coaching advice.
Yep. Yep.
When that
And
little,
also being okay with asking for help as well and support,
yes,
because I think as coaches, a lot of people feel like that we don't need coaching and we don't need guidance and we don't need mentorship. But because we are coaches, we understand that's exactly what we need.
yes,
That's exactly what we need to be, whether it's our own information, but also getting insight. Because I'll never sit here and tell nobody that I don't got a coach and a mentor. I,
yes,
I need that. I need to keep
yes,
myself in alignment and attune with myself and make sure that I'm doing and still walking in purpose. Sometimes it's a struggle. Being okay with making shifts and changes, being okay with accepting the failures as lessons, like you said earlier. I'm okay with all of that. I'm in a space now where I'm truly okay if something didn't work out, it wasn't meant. I'm truly okay with how things work out. And I just really have to trust my process and really being open to that and more so surrendering, I guess I could say, has been a blessing.
yes. It is. And what you, that word process again, because it is a process. It's not
It is.
something that happens overnight. It's not
Yep.
something that and it's ongoing. It's an ongoing process. It's
Yep.
just that the more you go through certain things, the easier it becomes to recognize what is happening. And
Yep.
so you do what you need or should do to overcome. That's part of your self care. When you talk
Yep.
about having a mentors and recognizing when you need help, that's self care.
It sure is. It
Because
sure is.
I know I listen to a lot of really people that have been in traumatic situations. And
Yeah.
at one time, I would have, because I'm an very empathetic to other people. I'm an empath, and I pick up on that energy.
Yeah.
And I pick up on things that I pick up on a lot from people that maybe
Mm,
they don't even know they're emitting. And at one time it really affected me, and I that's when I understood meditation and
yeah.
prayer, and how I meditate every day. I set aside time every day to
Yeah.
just release
Be.
all of that.
Yeah.
That's self-care.
It is. It is. It's really instilling that resilience. That's a part of your resilience journey as well, because you're putting policies and procedures in place to make sure that you are taking care of you
Yes.
holistically, mind, body,
Oh,
soul,
listen, whole
spirit, baby.
mind, body, and soul. And you know what? I just love when you talk about boundaries. See, that's one of my favorite things. Because even my
Hmm.
children know they have their boundary. You don't just because I'm mama, that don't mean you
Hey,
can step.
I'm the queen of boundaries, baby. They be like, Keisha. Uh, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Well,
So
and maybe it's because at one time I didn't have
I
boundaries.
didn't, and that's exactly it. That's exactly what it was. I spent years being a people pleaser.
Me
Years,
too, Keisha. I just was.
years.
Me too.
Hmm. So
Until
yes,
I
I
until
love
I
that resilience for us. I love that resilience for us. It's okay, and I'm okay. I say no, and I'll look you dead in your face and say no, and won't. I don't gotta say nothing else after that, because no is a complete sentence.
that's my favorite one right there.
It's a
Because you know
complete
what?
sentence.
I was at one time. I'm telling you, it was until I realized when you are a people pleaser, you're
Mm-hmm.
not pleasing anybody, including yourself.
That
Everybody is displeased.
hey,
Everybody displeased. So I'm like you. At first, I started out no with the explanation. And then I learned from that when you give no with an explanation, then that gives a door for people to come back
yeah,
and still try to convince you or throw in their 10 cents worth. But when I learned that no is a complete sentence,
the
ooh,
world changed. I'm telling you.
it changes things, doesn't it, Keisha?
Yeah, it does. And personally, but also in business, because everything that you want to do for your business may not be the best thing. So, when we talk about boundaries, we may be speaking on it from a personal aspect, but also understand that it also includes the entrepreneurial aspect as well. You have to be logically and open minded and sharp enough to know what is feasible for your business, what is going to help you pivot, and what is going to be a setback. Everything is not a good plan for your business.
Yes.
So a part of being that people pleaser is sometimes saying yes to a business move that you really didn't want to do. That rolls right into the entrepreneur field. So if you find yourself somebody that's like, oh, I didn't really want to do business with them, you have the right to say no. It's business. Take the
Yes.
emotions out of that business move. And I
Yes.
will promise you that you will see elevating activity on that, because although we are passionate, we love our business and we operate in purpose, we still have to make sure the logic is just equally yoked with that, guys.
Yes,
So I just want to
ma'am.
say,
Yes, ma'am.
as we begin to wrap up, when it comes to your mental resilience, I want y'all to understand one, that it's never too late for you to do what it is that you want to do. If you
Yes.
have had thoughts of starting a business over the last 10 years and you just like, oh, I don't want nobody to say anything, this is your message to start. Do your research, figure out what that looks like for you, and seek the support to help you get started, because you owe yourself that. You don't want to leave here unfulfilled and wondering what if. You on your last few days and you like, oh, I wish I could have, I wish I should have. We're not in that, we're not operating in that no more, ladies. We are doing. We
That's
have that
right.
can do mindset and that can do attitude, and just nurturing ourselves to be the best version, and whatever that looks like for you personally and professionally.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful words,
I
Keisha.
love it. I love it.
Because
I
it
love it.
is. It's never too late. Never too late. Don't
Never.
ever let anyone tell you that you're to this or to that and that you'll never do this and you'll never do that.
Yep.
No, believe in yourself.
Yep.
Believe in
Ooh,
yourself and do the
straight up
work.
like that.
I say be and it is. Be, go to work and it is, and see the results.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you put in the work and believe in yourself, because sometimes people will say and give you self-limiting comments because out of
Yep.
love. They may love you and don't want to see you fail, or may not want to,
Right.
but no, you do it. Don't live life. Don't be
Yep.
here existing and have ideas that you want to bring to life, but you're afraid because
Yep.
and it's never going to be the right time. Let's just say that.
Ooh, say that. Say that.
It's not
Say that.
you're going to say I'm waiting for the right time.
Yeah, because we hear that a lot. We hear that a lot. Oh, it's just not the right time. It's not the perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time.
Never.
There's never going to be a perfect time. And those that are close to you that may be telling you, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, they are projecting their fear onto you and your endeavors. Don't allow them to do that.
Don't.
They don't mean any harm, although some do. They
Some
don't mean
do.
any harm. But you can't allow their fear of the failure, because we can't grow without failure. We can't grow without lessons. And I'm walking that as we speak. There's adjustments that I've had to make within the structure and the inside of my business, and it was hurtful because I didn't want to do it.
Yes, and
I'm not a big person for change, but
yes.
looking at it from the long term, it's going to pay off financially, but also for me in my purpose. So once I really put that into perspective, it was like, all right, I'm scared because I'm uncomfortable. I don't like getting uncomfortable, but I know I got to do it. That's the mindset of a growth minded person.
Yes. I have a problem with that sometimes when I'll have a client that I realize that they're not ready to be
Hmm.
coached. And one of the hardest things that I have to do in my business is to let that person know
Yeah.
that our relationship is coming to an end until they're ready
Until
to
they're ready.
commit to making the changes. That's one of the hardest things in my
It
business,
is.
but it's something that has to be done
It does.
at sometime those decisions have to be made because it is a business and it
Right.
has to operate on certain principles or
Yeah.
it won't thrive. And my business being part of my purpose is not going to serve me or the people I'm here to serve if I allow my business to go underground or deteriorate because I'm
Yeah.
not willing to make those hard business decisions.
You right. You right. So be okay with those hard adjustments, people. At the end of the day, it's your business, it's your brand, it's your product, it's your service. You have to be operating and promoting and doing whatever it is top tier. No bare minimum when it comes to that. It
That's
needs to be
right.
top tier.
That's
So
right.
I love it. I love it. We could probably talk all day, but I would love for you to share what's coming up for you, what you got going on, what's going on with you out here in these entrepreneur streets.
Okay. Now this is one of those things that I had to overcome that fear
Mm,
because remember I said I really have a hard time with being out front and
yeah,
I'm good with people one on one doing my business,
right, right.
but being out front is one of the things that uh it it's hard for me. It has been
Mm.
hard for me and it's something that I have to, but I overcame that fear and started doing a live stream.
Ooh,
Yes, 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 yes. And the live stream I'm going to,
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. I'm going to be doing it's every Thursday at 2 p.m. and right now is on LinkedIn, Facebook and my YouTube channel. And the name is Wisdom for the Ages. And each week we'll be dealing with a something that we may have experienced that has
Mm.
lent us a certain amount of wisdom. It may be something we've learned from our elders. They imparted their wisdom. It may you've been giving me tidbits of the wisdom that you have acquired
Thank you.
when it comes to business. So, so I when I say wisdom for the name, I don't have all the wisdom. I know
Right.
that God has blessed me with certain knowledge from my experiences that I
Mhm.
am going to share. But so wisdom for the ages, that's one. I have a new book and I was blessed. My we released it first as a an ebook, and it went international bestseller.
Oh,
Yes, 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 yes. And the name of it is Beauty of Being.
come on.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Success,
that's at
baby.
77. That's at 77.
That part.
That part right.
Straight like y'all heard that. Listen, hey, we'll get up here and praise all day, y'all. We gonna get on and get out of here. All of her information will be linked in the podcast description. I will make sure that her book link is in there. You can learn more about Jeanne and what she is doing, how she is empowering and inspiring and uplifting others. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel for her. Go ahead and go over because our YouTube channel probably gonna be tagged on this one. So make sure you subscribe and so you could catch those wisdom of the ages every Thursday because I definitely will be tuning in. I appreciate you so much for
Oh,
being
I
here.
appreciate
Um,
you. I
oh,
appreciate you. You are an inspiration to me, Keisha.
oh,
You
thank
are, you
you.
are.
Don't be trying to have me cry on my
But you
Bible.
are. Oh,
But
I
no, I
love it.
do.
I love
I
you.
thank
I
you.
love you.
I love you back. Thank you so much. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves out of here. Thank y'all again for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have favorited us on your streaming platform. Make sure you comment, rate, review. Please share your feedback. What did you think of this episode? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Holla back, y'all.